Hello everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations, and you're with Simon today, and we're continuing with our Natural Zodiac series. So before I get into that, it seemed like I had a really good response regarding the first video, and lots of people received some insight in regarding how the archetype of Aries interacts with all the other signs in the Zodiac, and how everything is all very much deeply osmosed. And that Aries is not Aries without the other archetypes. Everything is intimately connected. So with that being said, we're going to be doing Aries, and we're going to look at the squares and oppositions. Okay. Now, the first thing that we want to look at is the square that Aries makes to Cancer in the natural zodiac. And this energy, this square, takes place when the Aries energy bursts forward. And when we burst forward into a new direction, we leave an emotional connection to something, okay, that we had in the past, right? So a new direction that's never been explored before has no emotional attachment to it. And so as a byproduct, we feel anxiety. We feel the anxiety of separation. And we also feel the inherent insecurity that is linked with bursting forth into a new direction. That is why when we experience new things in our lives and we are about to explore something unknown, we feel vulnerable. And it is simply the biochemical reaction in the brain, because the brain is going, I'm identifying something here that's I don't know anything about it. I don't know where, let's say, for instance, you're at a new workplace. I don't know where the vending machine is. I don't know where the photocopier is. There are certain things that our brain has not developed neurological pathways to. And so that relationship between the fourth house and this first house, or Aries and Cancer, is an inherent insecurity relative to a new direction. We're coming out of the womb, Cancer, and into a new direction. And it is literally the process of how the baby gets born from the womb and comes into the new world. There is no definition, right? So when we look at the fourth house, if you've got Mars in Cancer, you're going to feel insecure. You're going to feel that you need to create a lot of security around you. Why? Because Mars, Aries first house, and Cancer, fourth house, security, are combined together. Does that make sense? So that square talks about when we move into a new direction, we are leaving something emotionally connected with behind. And so we lose that identity. Or we don't lose that identity, we create a new one. And so our security patterns are not available. When we look at the 10th house square, this is a dynamic where when we burst forth into a new direction, we are also breaking free of the conditioning. Capricorn is all about boundaries. It is the definition of something. So like if you look at a tree, for instance, the definition of the tree is its bark, right? The definition of the tree is the structure of the roots. It is the structure in which we were contained in. So when we go in a new direction, Aries, the structure is being left behind. And this is really interesting to understand because the structure and identity are interconnected, right? So when we look at Cancer, you'll see that there's an opposition between the two, between Cancer, Capricorn. And this is the inner and outer reality. So when we create a new direction, we break free from the emotional connection and we leave behind the definition. And so in this archetype, when you have Mars in Capricorn, you have emotional repression, you have suppression, because Aries wants to burst forth and Capricorn says, no, we've got to keep everything tight. We've got to keep everything solid. We've got to keep everything controlled. And Aries says, no, I want freedom. And Capricorn says, keep things structured, keep things structured. So naturally, anger, right? Repressed anger is an archetype that is associated with this 10th and first house dynamic, simply because of the fact that Aries just wants to move in a new direction. And Capricorn says, nope, we've got to keep everything together. All right. So if you notice, Uranus at the moment was in Aries for the last 7 years, and Pluto's been in Capricorn. And just look at the state of the world in terms of how we've had to burst forth in a new direction and break free from the structures, right? Break out of the old paradigm of thinking. Okay. And finally, we'll look at Aries in opposition, and it's the Libra archetype. So what does Libra do for Aries? It says, okay, well, if you go in a direction, what about other people? What about other people's direction? So how do you interact with your sense of self being discovered, while also understanding that everybody else also has their sense of self that they're discovering? So Aries learns how to find itself through the other, just as Libra finds itself through the other as well, right? And in this case, Aries is learning about itself in relation to other people, and Libra is learning about itself in relationship to other people. The difference is that Aries is saying, I'm discovering myself in each moment, and then I'm relating it to other people. Whereas Libra is saying, I am interacting with other people, and while I'm interacting with other people, I'm discovering myself. See the difference there? And so the way in which Libra and Aries interact with each other and how Libra helps Aries balance is through the dynamic of understanding diversity, the diverse ways that relationships work. And remember in the previous video, we talked about Aquarius and Gemini. They're air signs, and the other air sign is Libra, and they make a trine to each other, right? Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra make a trine together. So what happens is when Aries creates a new direction, right, it instinctively, through curiosity and the need to explore something in an objective way, leads to a new forming relationship, right? A new forming relationship, Libra. You relate to something completely new. And we also are able to understand ourselves through individuality being Aquarius, and allowing diversity to be part of what individuality is, right? We're diverse. And when we understand diversity, we understand individuality, and that's when we can create inclusion, right? The archetype of Libra is all about inclusion. It is either isolation or it's inclusion. Inclusion includes acceptance of individuality versus isolation, which is detached and not being a part of, not accepting individuality, okay? Awesome. All right, my friends, I really hope that you got a lot out of this little short 5-6 minute video. And don't forget to hit the likes and subscribe button if you really enjoyed this. Write in the comments below. And other than that, have a wonderful week. Take care. Bye-bye.